as always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
Well, didn't necessarily win the football game, but Brad Davis, hot sauce, former offensive lineman at the University of Oklahoma, former teammate, got to be the interim head coach at LSU, was really happy for him. I thought he, considering the roster that they had, thought he did a really good job. He is a rock star on the offensive line coaching world. He's had a really nice run up. He's been to a lot of good places, Arkansas, LSU. I think he's got some really good things in store. Last night was not great. Kansas State got after him, but he had a bad roster to deal with. But I was really happy that he got that opportunity. That was really cool to see.
He had a wide receiver playing quarterback. I mean, what's he supposed to do with that? I mean,
Right.
what is Brad Davis supposed to do with that? Now, he's being retained, so clearly he's got a great reputation of Brian Kelly wants him there. And my only concern for him is Brian Kelly, none of those assistants came with him.
Yeah.
Not one. And that makes you wonder about how much fun, how enjoyable it is to work for that man, right? And I go back to the comment about the accent, him saying I couldn't get my they asked him about the family thing. It was so awkward on the broadcast. I loved it. They asked him, but yeah, there is they're going to have to hammer the portal, and I'm sure a lot of guys are going to want to play at LSU, but yeah, that better not go on like his head coaching record, because that entire situation was out of his control. Like that was, I'm happy for Skylar Thompson. It was cool to see him go out that way after kind of all the injuries in his K-State career. But God, I can't believe I watched as much of that football game as I did. Oh,
I did too.
So gross.
I watched most of it. Deuce Vaughn had him another really, really good game, and it was almost shocking. Who was the color guy?
Was that Hasselbeck? That's who it sounded like to me. That was Hasselbeck, right?
I don't know, but he knew nothing about Deuce Vaughn.
He's an NFL guy. I don't understand. What, me or you should have been on the color for that game. It's like
the play-by-play guy's like, tell me what you like about Deuce Vaughn. And he's like, well, he's shifty, he can make guys miss. That's all he said.
Which, to his defense, accurate.
It is accurate, but I was laughing at that. But man, happy for Brad Davis. He's probably going to be miserable coaching for Brian Kelly, but I'm glad that he got that opportunity. It's a really cool thing to be the head coach for a game.
Yeah. All right. That's not English. Who do you have as your loser of the week?
I'm sorry, but it's got to be Baker Mayfield.
Right?
And now let me ask you something. 9 sacks. He's injured. Did they set him up to fail on purpose? Which he kind of talked about this in the post game. They're calling plays in from the sideline. They're not giving a rookie tackle any help against the best pass rusher in the NFL, TJ Watt, and it absolutely ruined the game for him.
Now, first of all, it just felt like destiny that the Steelers were going to win that game, right? Especially, how about Trey Norwood getting the interception so that Roethlisberger, who, by the way, Ben, take your helmet off, dude. What are you doing? Like, let us see your face. What?
I guess tears, didn't want to see the tears. I don't know.
We could see through the face mask, Ben. Yeah. We could see your eyes still. That was weird, but that was really cool that he got to get back out there and take a knee. And, ooh, man, that Najee Harris touchdown. I can't imagine how many fantasy championships that swung. Oh, my gosh. But Baker, yeah, he was getting the hell beat out of him, right? And I did not understand, like, you don't leave a rookie tackle on an island with TJ Watt. Like, what do you – that's bad coaching. Maybe was it? Are we going conspiracy theory here?
There was a lot of people that were saying it that like this. They're not dumb. They know who he's blocking. They know their quarterback is already banged up. Like, what are you doing here? Why are you not chipping? You're not lining a tight end up over there. You're giving the guy absolutely no help, and your quarterback, who's already injured, is getting absolutely pummeled.
Yeah, and he already came out and said he's not going to play in that finale against the Bengals. Going to get that shoulder cut on as soon as possible. So Baker taking care of himself now, but man, part of me wonders how much, like, because he's a tough dude, right? We all know, and that's one of the reasons OU fans love him so much, and one of the reasons Cleveland fans really like him, like that toughness. But I feel like that toughness cost him a lot of money this season, a lot.
Yeah.
Now we'll see. Who knows? But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in the NFL, right? It's a contract. It's a big contract type of year for him, so to speak. So you're injured. You don't want to go play poorly, but you've got a really good team, really good roster. You also don't want to show that they don't need you, right? With Keenum behind you, a guy that's very capable. So it's a tough spot to be in for him. But I think ultimately you're right that at the end of the day, whenever they sit down for those negotiations, they're not going to say, well, yeah, your numbers here, they're not that good, but you're right, your shoulder was banged up. They're not going to care about that in negotiations when they're talking contracts.
Yeah. Results-driven business. I'm sure he earned a lot of respect in that building from his teammates and from the personnel department, but it's about wins and losses. It's about production, and that they were the most disappointing team in the NFL this year, and he didn't play particularly well. So we'll see, but yeah,
isn't it crazy how quickly like a fan base goes from being like wanting one win to being delusional and thinking they're going to win the Super Bowl and just pissed off that they don't?
I was on a 1-15 Cleveland Browns team. Ted, 1-15.
Yeah. Nuts.
Yeah. Expectations change. Now they do have a good roster. It's beat up all year. And I don't think anyone was more beat up than Baker that was playing on a consistent basis. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're all rooting for 6, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of contract he ends up landing. All right, for my winner of the week, thought about going with Josh Giddey. Man, named Western Conference Rookie of the Month again. Dude's a stud. He's just a stud, Ted. The Wizard of Oz. I mean, let's go.
He's legit. He's okay. I may start watching, Gabe.
Nice. Also thought about going with Porter Moser's squad. OU basketball played number 1 Baylor tough in Waco. That was a tough spot for him. Had a couple guys coming. Yeah, had a couple guys coming out of the protocol that were able to play. Just they didn't shoot the 3 well at all. And man, they got crushed on the glass. Like Baylor was just assaulting them with offensive rebounds. But the Akinjo guy from Baylor was awesome. And it all together, all things considered, a nice performance, but we don't reward close losses on this podcast. So they're not my winner of the week. My winner of the week, and I know it's been several days, but we haven't had an episode since it happened. It's Oklahoma State football, man. I'm going to give them the credit that they deserve because that was a hell of a comeback win against Notre Dame in the Fiesta Bowl. And Spencer Sanders was awesome. Best game he's ever played in an Oklahoma State uniform. Best game of his career, not even close. And it was really fun to watch. I mean, they were down 28-7. I won't lie. They got down 28-7, Ted. I was in Maui. I went to the golf course. I was like, this thing is over. I DVR'd the rest of it. I was like, just in case. We'll see what happens. But I was like, this is over. I'm going to play. And my God, they came back. And they did it with Spencer Sanders' arm to Tay Martin. Tay Martin made some big-time catches in that game. Mm-hmm. And then Spencer Sanders was running wild, man. He looked fast as hell. He looked athletic. He looked great. Jaylen Warren looked good. Yeah, now that he was healthy, again, running the football. That defense, though, they made the big plays they had to make in the second half of that game. Colby Harvell-Peel with the strip. Malcolm Rodriguez did a great job reading Jack Cohn's eyes, gets the big interception in that second half. I mean, just big plays from your big-time playmakers on both sides of the ball. And Mike Gundy's team won 12 games. And they were, 2 inches from winning the Big 12 championship. And maybe if Jaylen Warren plays in that game, they do win. Who knows? But this is a team. They beat Texas. They beat OU in Bedlam. And they just beat Notre Dame. And there's a reason that Mike Gundy said, hey, we got a logo too. That's pretty impressive, man. And that is a hell of a season for Oklahoma State football. And I'm going to give them credit for it.
Yep, it was. And that's a Notre Dame team that is like really built their brand on being a tough physical group, win the line of scrimmage. And Oklahoma State was able to run the ball on them, especially late whenever it mattered. Defensively, that pick by Malcolm Rodriguez was awesome. That was fun to watch. That was probably the most entertaining game that I watched throughout the big bowl games. Well, no, the Utah
Rose Bowl
Ohio State game was great. That was crazy.
Game was awesome.
But it was awesome, and I think it's great. I think that Mike Gundy has done an unbelievable job at Oklahoma State. I love to give them a bunch of crap, but I think Mike Gundy and what he's done there is it's pretty much second to none with the consistency that they've had over his tenure there. Have had a hard time with Oklahoma, but outside of that, they've been really, really good. So hats off.
Yeah. For my loser of the week, thought about going with Iowa State fans, right? You lose your bowl game against Clemson, and Brock Purdy has the most Brock Purdy play of all time with the little like volleyball. I think he was going for the spike. He actually went with the one-handed set. Like it was the most Brock Purdy play to finish Brock Purdy's career. But so you lose that game, right? But then there's a report from Bruce Feldman saying that Jim Harbaugh may be interested in going back to the NFL, in particular the Las Vegas Raiders opening. And when you look at it, Harbaugh finally beat Ohio State. Michigan won the Big Ten this season. And maybe he does want to go back to the NFL. And if he does, you have to assume that Matt Campbell has to be near the top of the list, if not at the very top of the list for Michigan. Now, Luke Fickell probably up there as well with what he's done at Cincinnati. But after the way that bowl game finished, and then you see Harbaugh possibly leaving Michigan, as an Iowa State fan, you got to be like, this is just not a fan of this week. Not great.
The whole year, right? You started off like
most disappointing team in the country.
Going into the season with all of those super seniors coming back and all the talent, and boy, it was just disappointment after disappointment. Lose the bowl game. And if you're Matt Campbell, this may be just the opportunity that you're looking for, because, man, I don't know how Iowa State bounces back with all the guys that they're going to lose. I'm sure they've done a good job developing. That's how they got to the position they're in now. But, man, they've got so much seniority on that team, production and experience. It's all going to be leaving at one time. And, the other side is Harbaugh, though. They just got spanked in the playoff. They finally made it. Is he saying that, like, this is our peak? Like, this is the best I can do here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't blame him, because that game was not close. They got throttled. So, but my loser of the week, AFC defenders, because Derrick Henry is back practicing with the Tennessee Titans. And now they have 3 weeks to add him back to the roster officially. We'll see how the timing works out with that, but broke his foot in week 8. So he's missed 8 games, and he is still somehow the 6th leading rusher in the National Football League. When you think about it, like, it's just insane. But Mike Vrabel has done a hell of a job in Tennessee this season. Definitely should be in running for Coach of the Year. And the Titans have the opportunity to lock up the number 1 seed in the AFC and that bye that comes with it, with a win over the Texans this weekend. I assume that that's not going to be an issue. And I can't imagine we see Derrick Henry in that game. I assume it will be a lot of Deontay Foreman carrying the load for the Titans in that one. But we talk about the Chiefs, the Patriots, the Bills, the Bengals even a lot, but it's the Tennessee Titans that are going to have home field advantage in the playoffs in the AFC. And they did a lot of that without having their best player for half the season. And I don't think they're going to come out of the AFC, but still, man, they've done some really good stuff. That roster, they deserve some credit, that coaching staff, that front office. But Derrick Henry is coming back, and it's going to be cold in the playoffs. If you're an AFC defender and you end up playing the Titans, you're like, oh my gosh, a fresh Derrick Henry in cold weather. It sounds like a defender's nightmare. It sounds so terrible.
Yeah. And, if they can get a couple of wins right about the time he's reaching back into peak form, they're going to be closing in on like the AFC Championship and Super Bowl. So that's huge. If he's back and healthy and the full-on Derrick Henry, that's an advantage that no one else is going to have. It'll be great watching the Patriots beat them in Nashville in the AFC Championship game.
That is very possible. Very possible.